Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to a Fresh Stories book chat. We're here with somebody very exciting today. I have been having a parasocial friendship with this person for a long time now, and she has a book coming out, and we love nothing more than promoting our friends' books. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Amanda, who are you?
Hi, everyone. And it's not parasocial. I feel like
Okay,
we
it's
have
real
been
friendship.
it's real at this point. So hey, everyone. I'm Amanda Goetz. I have been in marketing for 2 decades. Found myself at the height of my career leading marketing at the Knots, while filing for divorce with 3 young kids under the age of 4. And over the past couple of years, I have really struggled with this dichotomous feeling within myself of I am ambitious, I have big goals, I want to make lots of money on my own and be financially independent. And I love being a mom. I love feeling like I'm there for my kids and softening enough to find love again. I'm getting married next year. And I feel like society just kept trying to want to put me in a lane. So, this book is really a practical guide to navigating the messy middle that we all are facing. This kind of, I describe it as a WWE Raw is War match inside of us, which is all of these kind of competing versions of ourselves trying to fight for the spotlight in the movie of our lives. So, this book is called Toxic Grit: How to Have It All and Actually Love What You Have. And so, it's that balance of being ambitious while also finding contentment, which feels really difficult.
Such an important book, and I'm so excited about it. How did you find yourself kind of in the middle of this conversation on the internet over the last couple of years? Because you've been somebody really leading this cause.
I think it started with going through a divorce and talking about that publicly. And then starting my last company, which was a CBD supplement business called House of Wise. And the underlying foundation of that company was a permission slip. So we had originally formulated gummies that were for sleep, sex, stress, and strength. And I wanted to remind women that they had to give themselves permission to let those parts of themselves have dedicated space in their day. Because I think a lot of women can relate to the fact that, like, when I'm with my kids all day and I don't create transition time, it is really hard for me to have sex that night. And if I am in work mode and I try to transition to mom mode, that's really difficult for me. And I started to talk about the intentionality of kind of compartmentalization and allowing myself to say, no, like, I do want to be intimate tonight. Like, what do I need to create that space and separation? And so I think women started to feel like, yeah, I am struggling with this kind of like, we're all fed this goal of like alignment and bring your whole self to work and bring your whole self. And I'm like, that's not working for me. And I
Yeah.
think that really resonated with people. And it's funny because this book is just a continuation of my mission with House of Wise. Like, how do I give women permission to create these intentional spaces and boundaries for like the version of me that like, look, I'm a healthy, like if anybody that watches me, it's like I was a basketball player my whole life. I was a former ACE certified trainer. I care about health and wellness. I live a fairly healthy, but like once a quarter, I get hammered with my girlfriends and I go dancing. And there's a part of me that is, it's really important that I have that. And if I write her off the script of the movie, like I start to feel like something's like missing, like what I don't feel like myself all the time. And so you have to just like allow yourself to kind of look inward to say, what are all these different versions of me and which ones am I kind of really writing off the script right now?
I love that so much. And I'm assuming that, well, we'll get into what the book goes through, but I'm assuming, because I think we've both gone through this, that when you come out of divorce, and that I feel like that was probably your first big life quake, as we'll call it, right? You come out of
For sure.
divorce, and you don't even remember what you liked, what color you like, what foods you like, right? So, does the book go into kind of how to start figuring all this shit out before creating that intentional space?
Yes. Yeah. So we go through what I call character theory, and it's a framework for understanding these different roles inside of you and these different versions of you. And you re-meet that. You re-meet your cast of characters inside of you, and you start to get curious about what script they've been given and where you need to maybe rewrite the script for them. And then you start to get curious of, okay, what do they actually need right now? And then you start to then write a new script because let's face it, like all characters can't have the same spotlight time. Like if you watched a movie and there were 10 main characters and they all on screen at all like you can't do that. So it gives you very practical tools and frameworks for how to kind of move the characters in and out of the plot line, but realizing that the goal is the entire cast has character development throughout your life.
I love that so much. And like as a writer, how much fun did you have writing this book, like putting all that together?
It's really crazy how fast this poured out of me. I I think I wrote the book in 3 months. It just it was all this stuff that has been bottled up inside of me, and it was so fun to write. It was this moment where you meet this new version of yourself. Like, I've been a marketer my whole life, and now all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I'm not an author." Like, and then you write a book and you're like slowly accepting this new identity, this new kind of hyphenate at the end. It's like, "Oh, wait, no, I love this. This is so awesome and it's lighting me up."
Yeah, but you're actually taking everything you learned from marketing and just helping people market themselves in a different way,
Oh, I
right?
love that. I hadn't thought
That's
of it that way, but I
that's
love
really what you're doing. It's like you're almost
that.
like working with yourself as a small business in different capacities, which is kind of interesting.
Well, the way
Yeah,
I think about it too is like, look, if we look at a company, you have a North Star goal, and then you give each of the departments their own goals, right?
right.
And yet for us as humans, we kind of have these macro goals of like, I want to be happy. Well, guess what? When my work version of me is really happy, usually mom version of me is not as happy. And, the like health and wellness version of me maybe also not as happy. So
Mhm.
happiness, you can't just say like one vertical could be killing it. Like
Right,
marketing may be killing it, but product may be sucking. And like that's not
right.
going to reach the North Star goal. So it's funny because a lot of the frameworks did come from
Yeah,
marketer.
yeah, absolutely. So, okay, take us through the book, Amanda. So what we open the book, what is the format? What are people gonna learn from this book?
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I just got the final copies. So, there's 3
Woo.
sections, and the first section is all about meeting your characters, learning about them, just understanding what it looks like when a character goes too far and they start to grow toxic, because there's always that tipping point, right? And so, understanding that and also which characters are the most compatible. How do you if you feel like you've lost a character, how do you slowly find your way back to them? Okay, so that's kind of part one. Part two is called Honor the Imbalance. And it's all about the fact that work life balance and finding balance is a bunch of bullshit. There is no such thing as balance, but understanding intentional imbalance is the key to navigating this ebb and flow of the characters, right? So talk about spin cycles there. I like so much in there about the rotation of the cast. And then part 3 is all about mastering the multiverse because no matter what, we could try to neatly compartmentalize our characters, but I would be remiss to not have a book that talks about the whack-a-mole of life, which is I'm sitting down with the best intentions to work and all of a sudden a crisis happens or my kid is sick at school. So like what are the tools that you can have to master this multiverse that your characters are living in?
That sounds so great. I'm so pumped to get into this. So, who is this book for?
This book is for, I think about two real cohorts of people. I use marketing language here. So, cohort one is the amount of women that are in my DMs in their 20s, terrified by the current headlines about, ambitious women. They are more burned out than ever. Motherhood is also like, because of this trad wife movement, it's getting this like kind of bad branding, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
there is an imbalance in cognitive load and distribution in the home. So there's so much that I think these 20-year-olds are seeing, and they're like, I think I want to be a mom. Like I think I want to
Right.
get married, but like that's looking really bad. So it's for them to understand how much agency and power they have within themselves to kind of say, fuck all of this. How do I make a life that works for me? How do I find a partner that is going to um, celebrate me creating space for these different roles? So that's kind of the group one. And then group two is the women who are in it, like us, like people who are going through big life transitions, who
Mm-hmm.
feel lost. They don't know who they are, or like they feel like they have um there's like a numbing of like their life. Like what is going to light me up anymore? And I want women, and I've been there, and I love that you called that out. It's like post divorce, I was like, who am I? I've
Yeah.
been married since I was engaged at 19, married at 21, married for, 13 years. I'm like, what do I do with my spare time? And I remember the first time my kids went to their dads, and I was like, what do I do right now? So it's like this book is for really those kind of two cohorts of women, people who are already in the messy middle, and the women who are like, that looks really messy. How do I navigate that?
I think this is such a great book to work through with your therapist too, right? Like, how great would that be to sit down and be like, I'm reading this book. I want to work on calling out this cast of people that I am. How can we work on that together? Or a life coach or divorce coach or whatever. Having that support system, I think, especially through working through this foundational system, right, that you've built for people, because you can come back to this anytime, right? And like that's the beauty of this book.
It, there's an exercise in there that I really implore women to do at least once a year as this check-in moment to say, what does alignment look like right now? And understanding that like your cast is changing every season. And like I'm going into a busy season right now where the work version of me, front burner, full front burner. I've communicated that to my kids. And guess what? I'm not going to let that intentionality seep in with like get completely fucked up with guilt.
I was going to ask
Because
about that. Yeah.
yeah, because when you intentionally set something on the front burner for a season and you communicate that to your supporting cast, what does that do? It alleviates the guilt. Because what happens is we try to go after a big goal. We maybe don't set an end checkpoint. So I have a checkpoint in November. I have literally, it's on my calendar. It's like end of this time, check in, run a spin cycle to say, how do I remove some of the intensity and heaviness that have built up? And what do I want for this next season? Maybe that's a month, maybe that's 3 months, maybe that's a year. What does the cast start to look like? Who's getting the spotlight? And chances are you're going to find me in November. And this is why, I mean, I love Taylor Swift. Like I'm a Swiftie, but like I love that she went on that podcast after billion dollar tour, like working her ass off, doing the tour, writing an album, you know, and now she's like, I'm baking sourdough bread. And like, now
Yep.
she's going to be planning a wedding. It's like, that's the beauty of seasonality. And what we as women tend to do is just spend so much of our energy just fueled by guilt of, oh, she probably wasn't there for her friends as much during the tour. And now she is. And allowing ourselves to have those seasons where we're unapologetically prioritizing something because we're trying to prioritize everything.
Well, and I know you're somebody, because you post about this a lot, who loves to hike and get out in nature. And I think that our disconnect from the greenery around us and nature sometimes fucks with our head, because we forget that there is a season for everything. Right. And so, like, I love to have indoor plants all over my office, my bedroom, because it reminds me, like, a little leaf can grow at any time. Right. And like things just slowly over time will grow roots and get bigger. And it takes time. And when you're not hustling, right, which you're very anti-hustle culture, then you, are still growing, you're still doing things, but we
Yeah.
have that conversation and that narrative is not what keeps women expansive, right? It keeps women small, so it's much easier. I mean, I'm so excited for this book to be in the world, and I think everybody should be reading this, every book club, every woman, every working person, to be honest. Where can people obviously, we'll have the links in the show notes and all those good places. Where can people buy it if they're like, "I need to get this right now and pre-order it?"
Yeah, pre-order, I mean, all the main things, it's on Barnes& and Noble and Target and Amazon, but if you wanna go to toxicgrit.com, after you pre-order, you can upload your order number, and then you will get there's a bonus chapter, there's a digital workbook, and all the fun goodies. So toxicgrit.com to kind of learn
Amazing.
more.
Amazing. Amanda, thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to, have you back on to talk more about the book and all the things. And I love the way that you framed the book, because I think, especially as millennials, we've kind of seen ourselves through the lens of like a teen movie often as we grow up, right? And so to think of ourselves as like the leading star in some sort of Julia Stiles movie, is a healthy way to see all of that. So, I love that so much. Thanks so much, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Olivia.